Everybody, how are we all doing? It's your boy, a Flinner. We're back on the Phoenix and Sport Twitch today. You know, doing some F2 because why not? Yeah, so we're just waiting for all the drivers to ready up. We haven't got much attendance today. It is quite low, but obviously this weekend a few of the drivers are out elsewhere, especially a few of the admin team members. They're taking a vacation this weekend to Silverstone to watch some GT3 racing. Yes, only 7 people today. That is correct. There would be a lot more, like I said, but due to it being a weekend where many people are away, it's quite low today. There's normally like what 12 or 10 people that normally race, but it's not the end of the world. Not the end of the world. We can still get some, hopefully, as always, awesome racing action. I should have joined. I'd have hoped for points. I mean, indeed you would have done, As it's a sprint race and it's a feature race, there's going to be no problems there position-wise because everyone's going to get a bunch of points today. So, on board with Jakob Spins a lot today, coming towards turn number 1 here at the lovely track of Belgium, known as Spa. Down to turn 1, a very good exit there indeed. Currently down in P number 6, but hopefully as they go up and through a Rouge, they can hopefully find a bit more lap time and keep their car steady and send it into Oblivious, as we have Skill Issue fighting away with Robin McQueen for that P number 1 spot, and it looks like Skill Issue takes away into Sector 1. Still on board with Jakob though, because we're not going to switch between the two because it does fade into like a black screen and back again, and I've obviously got some reply and feedback that people don't want that and it's kind of distracting and annoying, so we're just going to keep on board with Jakob, keep an eye on his lap time, see how he gets on, and obviously keep an eye on the top 5, top 3, which keep changing every single corner. So Jakob now down in Sector 2, making his way through turns number 9 towards number 10 and 11. You can kind of take this flat out, but you have to kind of lift a little bit in the F2 cars. I believe in the F1 cars you can take it half flat out, but in the F2 you have to lift quite a bit to actually maintain the pace and the speed and not go over the track limits as well. But now heading towards the final sector, or Sector 3, into turns number 15, which is right here, and then turn number 16 and 17 very, very shortly. But unfortunately, Jakob just running a little bit wide on the exit of 15 and going over those track limits. His lap time is indeed invalidated, and he'll unfortunately be starting down in P number 6. But we'll keep on board with him to see what his lap time would have been and seeing if it would have probably beaten anybody in the grid. But Brizzen about to cross the line very, very shortly in P1. Wobbery looks like he'll take a P2. And then James Mustang overtakes Matt for P3. It could be James for provisional P3 here, and it is. Brizzen crossed the line at 157.416. So Matt Pryor on board of him now. He finishes down in P4. which isn't too shabby. It isn't too bad, but there are your results there. Brisen and Wobby separated by 2/10, and then James Mustang about 1.3 off the pace, and then Matt about 1.4 off the pace, and DSQ for Skill Issue, and of course Yakud spins a lot. Those two exceeding track limits a little bit too much, and in doing so, unfortunately, they don't get a lap time on the board, so they'll be starting 5th and 6th. Now, we've got a lovely sprint race ahead of us for Belgium today, which looks like to be dry weather throughout, which isn't problematic. So, as you can see there on the left-hand side, all the drivers chilling and waiting in the background, just waiting, obviously, for the players as well to sort their setups out, fuel-wise, and everything else. And we can get cracking on with the race in a few mementos. I'll catch up with the chat as well. You reckon Webby has got this? True. You know, I think Webby could do this. You know, he's looking quite fast in F2 and had some very, very lucky races. And I believe he is actually leading the championship. But, yeah. We'll see how he gets on today. As we have almost 5 red lights here at Spa for the Belgian Grand Prix. It's lights out, and away we go for the sprint race. It's a very good start for P at number 1, which is Jakob, actually getting a very good reaction, a very good start, and he might find himself in the race lead, but unfortunately in doing so, Matt trying to go around Jakob, but slots into P3, and it's actually Skill Issue up into P1, and he's already building that gap right about 3/10, almost 2/10 now, but that gap is opening up as we make our way up and through a Rouge. Jakob there a little bit wide on the entrance to a Rouge, which means Matt will slide into P2, and James Mustang now all over the back of Jakob. They're going to go wheel to wheel down to turns number 5 and 6 now. Still wheel to wheel, still hanging in there. James is, but does back off a little bit, and unfortunately in doing so, as I say that, Wobby McQueen getting a big snap of the rear end lost there, and he finds himself down in P number 6. We're trying to go for a double move for P3, but just couldn't make the move stick, and it looks like it's a little bit cloudy, so tire temps could really play into a key factor here. So Webby almost bottling it on lap number 1 of the sprint race so far, which definitely isn't ideal. You don't want to bottle straight away, because if you do, that could be your race over in a heartbeat. But now on board, and Matt sailing on here on lap 1 into sector 2, almost sector 3 very, very shortly, and he is literally around about 3/10 behind P1 as we see Jakob and James Mustang go at it for P3. Jakob now under pressure from Brisen, and unfortunately in doing so, Brisen gets through into P4, and Jakob actually going to get swallowed here, and he does. He loses about, what, you could say 3 positions in 2 corners really, and now he's unfortunately down into P at number 6. Skill Issue, however, has been overtaken, and Matt is our new race leader here at lap 1, heading towards lap number 2. So we've had a variety of race leaders. We had Jakob down to turn 1 as a race leader. We then had Skill Issue as our race leader, as we see those two fighting right now, and now Matt is our race leader, and it's only lap number 2. Carnage is happening. It's all going on here at Spa, heading towards, again, 1 and 2 and 3 very, very shortly. It's going to be Brisen on the inside, and in doing so, it's going to be Webby going around the outside of, Brisen, who is actually spun around there on the exit of turn number 1, and unfortunately he'll find himself down in P at number 6, and that is him retired from the race. It's not actually him, it's actually Skill Issue, a safety car on lap number 2 here at Spa. Skill Issue out of this session for the sprint up and through a Rouge. He didn't quite make it, and that's him out, DNF'd, brings out our safety car. Now it plays into the hands of Matt, who, you know, can now get a bit more confidence in the tyres and the temperatures, save some of that tyre wear as well. But the safety car should realistically be in towards the end of lap number 4 to lap number 5, so it won't be too long till we get back to racing action. But that is definitely not ideal for a Skill Issue. Very heartbreak moment, and like we said here in the Twitch chat as well, as there's only 6 people, they would all be scoring points today, so all they had to do was just play it safe. Skill Issue not playing it safe, probably a bit of contact or just a car loss or whatever it was, and unfortunately not scoring any points out the session. Definitely not ideal, very unfortunate as well. So skill issue, we're looking high hopes for the race, which will be the feature race in about a couple of laps time. 139 points, I think. Damn. He is flying there, shall I say. Webby, indeed he is. Damn, so whilst we're just waiting for the safety car to re-enter to racing speed shortly, we've gone on board with James Mustang, who's obviously right behind Wobby McQueen. These two actually teammates this season, so they could score some big points here, and that will really help them out in the constructors. As actually we see James Mustang getting a time penalty worth of 3 seconds. Definitely not ideal, and definitely not what you want to see. And that will be for exceeding track limits. We see Matt, interestingly, into the pit lane. And we do see Wobby McQueen and Brisen also enter the pit lane. And they're making their way onto the soft compound of tyre, which is very interesting. Of course, Wobby thinking, no, I don't go on the soft just yet. So he goes to another set of the mediums. Brisen is going to go on the soft tyre as well. So alternate strategies happening here on lap number 3. But also very interesting. Ah, I see. You lost the car. You run low downforce. Unfortunate mix. Unfortunate indeed, buddy. Hopefully good results for the, you know, feature race, shall we say. Hopefully, you know, you get better luck there, which I believe you will. So hang in there, buddy. You'll be all right. Right, so as obviously, like I said, we're just waiting for the safety car to enter the pit lane very shortly. We've got to wait for Brisen, Wobby and Matt to catch up to the safety car itself. So let's have a look at the Constructors' Championship for F2 after round number 5. And I must say, it's looking very spicy indeed. Very spicy. So, after round 5, Wobby McQueen leads the way on 100 points. Ryan in P2 with 90 and suffocating in third with 84 points. So, third and second, and you could say first, very close. But with suffocating absent this race, Wobby McQueen could obviously extend his lead by a big advantage. Also, Ryan's not here this weekend, so once again, Webby has got a very high chance of scoring some very good points here tonight and exceeding his championship lead by some margin. And as we look towards the Constructors' Championship as well after round 5, it's going to be... I'm scared now because I don't know how to pronounce these names. High-Tech team, which is obviously by Webby McQueen and James Mustang on 131 points. Campos Racing team, obviously Joe Viper and Suffocating, on 103 points. And then you got Art Grand Prix team, which is Elvar and Ryan on 90 points. So, you know, it's not exactly close between first, second and third. Maybe a little bit closer between first and second, but obviously, you know, with High-Tech being the only team to show both drivers today, if they keep it clean and keep it calm and keep it, you know, chill, they've got no problems with scoring some good points today in the sprint race and the feature race. Campos the best team? Hey, there you go. If you're saying it's the best team, Joe, I'm gonna have to agree, aren't I? Gonna have to agree. But while still waiting for the safety car to peel into pit lane at the end of this lap number 4 to lap number 5, we can have a look at the tyres then, can't we? So obviously James Mustang, as you can see, as well Jakob, 3 laps on the mediums. Unfortunately, those two having time penalties worth of 3 seconds for exceeding track limits. Definitely, like I said, not ideal. You got Matt down in P3 on the soft compound tyre, Wobby McQueen in P4 on the mediums, and Brisen in P5 on the soft. So Wobby McQueen right now is kind of like in a soft tyre sandwich. Because at the moment, the way it's standing, grip levels are going to go towards Brizan and Matt to try and gain an advantage on Jakob and James on the restart, but Brizan mainly trying to gain an advantage on Webby on the restart as well. So Webby maybe a little bit slow for the first, 2 to 3 laps, and then towards the end, hopefully his tyres should start to make their way into play, and he'll be able to fight back and potentially take, the win in this race, which I think he'll be very, very happy with. And he says to me today, whilst we're waiting for the racing action to begin, that he said, Flynn, watch out for me on track today, because it looks like I may take another victory here for F2 tonight. So Webby, not messing around tonight, wants to take victory here at Spa for the sprint and potentially the feature race. We'll find out if he could do both if he pulls out a marvellous race strategy, but we'll see how it goes. The race control confirming that the safety car is making its way into the pit lane by the end of this lap. So we've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 3 to 4 laps of racing about to happen here. Obviously James bunching up the pack, waiting for the safety car to peel into the pit lane. Jakob right behind in P2, just chilling, doing the same thing as James right now, just weaving, getting those tyres into the optimal range that they need to be, and then when James decides to go, he will gun it for a gap distance. But like I said, Matt on the softs could be right on the charge on the end of this restart once we make our way out the bus stop towards turn number 19. Jakob though has stopped weaving, James has stopped weaving. Let's keep our eyes peeled now on board a P3, see what his restart is like. And Jakob just mounted the curb a little bit too much there and could have already got a really bad exit, but seems to have got quite a decent exit on the exit of turn number 19, heading towards turn number 1 now. A very tricky corner. Actually, Matt actually going to send it down the inside. A sensational move there, and that's already Matt up in at 2 at P2. And as we try and gun down James Mustang for this P1. Robin McQueen down in P4, on board of him right now, making his way up and through a Rouge, almost being taken out slightly there by Jakob, as Jakob got a bit of a snap heading through a Rouge, but managing to somewhat and somehow save the guy there. But like I said, Jakob already getting swallowed on the restart, and unfortunately finds himself down in P number 5 with Webby behind Brizan and Matt on the softs in P4. Not a bad restart, I would say, but Webby, he won't be too happy with that, because obviously he won't be up in the P, 3rd, 2nd and 1st, but just up and through a Rouge. Jakob having that moment. Webby had to back out, which gave him the advantage to Brizan to somehow squeeze on by and take P3. So there we go. On board with these two now. Teammates as well for this race, as you can see. Didn't realise until now. So as you can see, my eyesight, very, very clever and very, very good. So these two on the same compounded tyre, making their charge through the grid already. P3 has knocked P4 by about a second, so if they keep it like this, they will not get DRS advantage. As you can see, the soft tyres are definitely working at this favour of time. Already Brizan going fastest in sector 2, and Matt almost all over the gearbox of James Mustang. And if he's feeling brave, he may go for a late braking move into turn 18 and 19. Even before the corner, they pull out wheel to wheel. Late on the brakes goes Matt into turn 18, and then turn number 19, wheel to wheel, as they make their way through to start and finish to start lap number 6, heading towards turn 1 to 2 and 3 very, very shortly. Still hanging it there, wheel to wheel. And in doing so, Brizan could try and shape a move here. And unfortunately, James doing the best he can, trying to stay ahead of Matt. Just couldn't do it, wasn't able to. But up and through a Rouge, James right on the gearbox, gunning out of the Rouge. May try and go for the race lead here. Once again, will really, really benefit. He is really helping out his teammate Webby behind him P4. And there we go, James up into P1. Sensational move there. And now we've got Wobby trying to make a move for P3 and makes it stick. Gets past Matt. His teammate really helping here, but Matt trying to come back as we make our way down to turns number 8 towards number 9. Matt and Webby still going at it. Matt finding his way through, and Webby unfortunately dropping down to P4 and Matt back into P3. James is not letting this one down without a fight. Absolutely amazing. His send there into turn number 7 and 6, somehow making it stick. Brizano getting around it. Unfortunately, James wasn't able to defend off Brizan, but he is still there. James is still there on the gearbox of Brizan. Separated by what? 4 to 5 to 3 tenths as Jakub gets another time penalty for multiple warnings. That'll be for exceeding track limits. But James, his wing levels looking fairly low. So Brizan ain't able to shake him off at this moment of time. On the soft combat tyre, would be thinking right now, I should be running away here, but just isn't able to. Towards lap number 7 we go. DRS should be enabled heading towards this lap, which will really benefit James if he gets a good exit out of turn 1 and race control there, confirming DRS is enabled. So, heading to turn 1, out of turn 1 we go. Get the best exit, prioritize your speed as best as you can. The gap between them two is around about 6 tenths. James, though, looks like he has the advantage of straight line speed up and through Rouge. The gap now 7 tenths. He'll now get the DRS activated, making his way down the massive back straight, heading towards 7 and 6. You've got Matt there weaving like crazy in the background. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like James will be able to keep with Brizan for long, as that gap is opening and opening lap by lap. Already 8 tenths, now 9 tenths. Brizan pushing to the limits here. It could be a second towards the end of the sector, and it's already looking like it possibly might be, with Matt trying to challenge now James, trying to get a move here towards number 9 we go. 10 and 11 very shortly. James doing some excellent stellar defending, but Matt pulling to the left hand side. They're not going to try and do it, are they? Oh my goodness, they almost tried going wheel to wheel there, which would have been definitely not helpful into the double left-handers. Oh my goodness, there he got Matt going very wide, almost exceeding track limits, maybe potentially exceeding track limits, but James still trying to hang it there. Wobbie now getting past his teammate for P3, sorry, Matt into P2. Now, Matt's is about, what, 1.6 away from his teammate of Brizan, and Wobbie is, what, 2 tenths behind, and he's looking very race pacey. So Wobbie McQueen could even make a move before turns 18 and 19, and could make a move through 16 and 17 we go now. On board with the driver behind us of, you could say, Lightning McQueen. Absolutely flying. So lap number 8 we go, the penultimate lap of this race. Look at the exit, look at the grip Webby has got on those medium compounded tyres, heading out of turn 19 towards turn 1. He was thinking of going for the lunge, has a bit of a slidey moment by slightly touching the grass there with his left wheel, which definitely isn't ideal. But what is ideal is Matt has somehow found some pace in that car on those tyres, which are fading and fading fast, and has managed to get within a second of his teammate for DRS activation to potentially defend from Wobbie McQueen. This could insanely be some very exciting battling heading to the final lap of this race if Wobbie McQueen can keep within a second of Matt, and so far it's looking like he can. The gap between those two is 5 tenths, but Webby gets a 3-second time penalty for, unfortunately, multiple warnings within the track. Oh, he'll be gutted now. He will be gutted, because even if he gets past Matt, he's got to somehow magic up 3 seconds in a lap. So that could be quite challenging for Mr. Wobbie McQueen himself. So he might be thinking, you know what, even if I get past Matt, I'm still going to be coming home in a P3. So that's not too shabby, and that's not too bad. So I don't think he'll be complaining too much. Making our way through the slight S's now of Sector 2, heading towards Sector 3 on the exit of 15 now. Wobbie McQueen looking like he's going to try and seize an opportunistic move, heading towards 16 and 17 now. Webby right on the gearbox of Matt. Literally, you could say he's glued to the gearbox of Matt. Heading towards 18 and 19. He was looking for the lunge. He was looking for the dive. He was looking for the move. Just didn't have the momentum and didn't have, you could say, the space or awareness to do so. Then both getting DRS on the exit of 19 down to turn 1 Robin McQueen isn't able to go for the move, but does have a moment. Oh my goodness me. Robin McQueen has lost it. He has spun on the exit of turn number 1. His teammate James in P3 now. James will be happy with a podium to finish off in the sprint race. Robin McQueen, he'll be absolutely fuming. Absolutely fuming. Now, here's the battle between both teammates wanting the race victory here at Spa. Brisbane in the lead by around about 8/10. Matt in the background, as you can see there, separating now by 9/10 of a second. Could we see a battle between teammates heading towards now, or shall I say in Sector 2, heading towards Sector 3 very, very shortly? Potentially, Brisbane's got this in the bag if he keeps it calm and collected, only separated by 9/10 of a second. Obviously, no DRS on the back straight of turn 15 down to turn 18 and 19. So like I said, if Brisbane keeps it nice and calm, collected, he'll be fine. He'll be zooming for a race victory here at the lovely circuit of Spa. And it looks like he might just do that indeed. Robin McQueen down in P4 behind his teammate by around about 6/10 to 5/10 of a second. He could get a move done here, which would be absolutely sensational for the Lightning McQueen himself, as you like to say quite a lot. Ka-chow. Separated by 3/10, 2/10, about a 10th. They're going to go for a move, maybe swapping to help him in the championship. Brisbane is going to make his way around the final 2 corners of turn number 18 and turn number 19. He'll finish the race in P1 here at Spa for the sprint. Matt will come home in P2, and then Robin McQueen coming home in P3 to finish off here at Spa to slightly extend his championship lead. Jakob spins a lot. Not DNFing, shall we say, which we like to see. And Jakob will definitely not be delighted with a P5 finish, but will be delighted to finish here at the circuit of Spa. Now it's towards a feature race, and here he comes, crossing the line. And there we go. That was indeed very good teamwork between both drivers in P1 and P2. Brisbane and, of course, Matt working together. And Webby just felt the pressure too much or got too early on the power and spun his car, and in doing so, he paid the price, as we saw. He paid the price indeed. That's what I mean. I think Matt was just attacking James so Brisbane could gun it and run away with the victory. And like I said, the plan worked and they've done it. They got it done. So now more of the same, please. I could try my best, you know. I mean, I hope my commentating is okay. I know some people can find it a little bit boring when it's just, you know, eyes peeled on, what, top 3, top 4 drivers! I did say here, chat, that weather was looking dry and sunny, but here at Spa, a heavy, heavy downfall of rain. And there we go. There is the price they pay. Wet circuit. Wet Spa. We love to see the rain. Now, talent plays into hand. Because obviously, in F2 cars, there's no ERS. And obviously, when it's wet weather, there is no DRS available. So it's all about skill now. Skill and talent for the drivers. Get the corner exits, corner entrances. See how they get on. And just go from there. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, like I said, Matt's and Brisbane's performance, if they can carry it out somehow in this wet downpour of rain, then I think they could be looking for a very good point-scoring opportunity between the pair of them and in the constructors as well. Thank you very much. I'm glad you're loving the commentary. Thank you very much for the kind words. So now, like I said, it's, you know, it's literally just a waiting game now. It's literally just a waiting game. Obviously, waiting for the players to get into the lobby. Well, not in the lobby. They're already in the lobby. Like, sort the setups out. Get all sorted. And, go from there. As enough of that. It's the 5 red lights here at the lovely circuit Spa. Brisbane in P1. One McQueen down in P2. Heading towards turn number 1 then. Wobby trying to go for a move but is unable to. But we've got a very, very brave send there by Skill Issue, who tried to go for P3. Does get into P3, which he's quite lucky about that one. As we see, James almost driving into the wall there on the exit of turn 1. Not too sure what was going on there. But as you can see, look at the spray up and through a Rouge. Definitely not ideal and definitely not what you want to see. But Matt off to a very poor start. It's going to try and find his way up into P3, heading towards, what is it going to be? Turn number 5 and turn number 6. However, though, Skill Issue still defends P1, late braking, and stays where he wants to be. Matt will not be happy in P4 at the moment, because the longer he is in P4, the longer his teammate has to push really, really hard to try and, you know, run away from Moza McQueen, who goes a little bit deep into turns number 8, heading towards number 9 now. And in doing so, Matt has to worry no more, because I believe Skill Issue went a little bit deep himself there, and Matt said, you know what, thank you very much, I'm going to slide up your inside or your outside, and that's me now up into P3 now. He sets eyes on Moza McQueen, who is around about 7/10 ahead. I know, if they are using ABS in the rain, then yes, we do wish them good luck, because it's going to be impossible. When I say impossible, I mean impossible. So, what can we expect so far? Well, the top 5 running away here, all slightly within a second. Jakob spins a lot down in at P6, around about 4 seconds away from P5, but it's not the end of the world, because also we know not many drivers here today, so points opportunity is possible to score anywhere at this lovely circuit tonight. Now, what's very interesting is Brisbane is running away in P1 at the moment, but only separated by 0.8 of a second. We have Skill Issue on board of him now in P4, right behind Matt. He's actually going to look up the inside. Here he goes, Skill Issue trying to get the move done. Into 18 and 19 we go, trying to go for the good old switcheroo, but unable to do so. Finding himself behind Matt still. Heading towards turn 1. Is he going to go for the lunge? He is looking to the right hand side. He is going to go for the lunge. He is going to try and go for it into turn 1. Matt on the outside. Skill Issue on the inside, but just can't get the grip, as it's so wet and so slippery. But look, he is literally sniffing and trying to glue to the rear wing of that lovely F2 car, Matt. But in doing so, he's played it pretty smart there, getting right to the rear end of Matt. Matt having to back off a little bit and try and get around the corner, sending him a bit deep and a little bit wide into up and through a Rouge. And now Skill Issue somehow up into P3 and Matt down into P4. Not a great start for Matt. He wants to try and help his teammate and make it a 1-2 once again. Now, the longer they keep fighting, third to second is separated only by 2.1 seconds. So definitely not ideal. And the same goes for Moza McQueen. Was going very confident heading towards this race. And he's only separated by, what, 1.4 to P1. And that's, you know, that's opening, that's closing, a bit of this, a bit of that, you know. Crash, bang, wallop. It's all going on. Skill Issue, however, somehow still ahead of Matt on board of them once again on lap number 2, heading towards lap number 3 very shortly. And we said about Moza McQueen being very confident. He has already started to close that gap down towards P1. They're only separated now by 1.2 of a second. Matt, though, behind Skill Issue, they're only separated literally by 0.3 of a second, heading through what turns number 16 and 17, heading towards now 18 and 19. Go on board with the driver himself, trying to go on late at the brakes as you possibly can. But if you've got ABS on, you're really going to struggle. Most likely you are. Brisbane at 2:15.360, trying so hard to push to the extreme here. And Robin McQueen right behind him, P2, now separated only by 1.1 of a second. That could get into under a second by this lap if Webby keeps up this pace and keeps the pressure on Brisbane. But obviously right now the closest battle on track as James Mustang down in P5, left in the dust from Matt. They are separated by around about 2.3 seconds. But these two putting on a show, only separated by 0.3, 0.2, almost 1/10 of a second. And obviously Matt not close enough. He knows he's not going to be able to get the move done, so he's brave, he's bold, he's smart really, and doesn't go for the move just yet. He stays behind for another lap, but he's just waiting on a skill issue to have a moment and obviously capitalise on that, get around him somehow, nice and safely, bish bash bosh. He'll be up into P3 in no time. So I'm not too sure how long this rain is going to be with us for, but looking at the conditions and looking at it how the way it is, it looks like it could be with us till the end of racing here. So drivers will obviously have to think about boxing onto a fresh set of wet tyres, which could come to play and could be a big gamble. And also, what is a big gamble, may you ask? Well, this is quite a big gamble. How hard and how much do you want to push on your wet tyres to make sure you don't overheat them and wear them out too much? Well, Webby is your main man, and on board with him right now, P1 and P2 separated by around about 0.7 of a second, and now it's decreasing as we make our way through 16 and 17, now making our way towards 18 and 19. If Webby can somehow magically make some great pace out of those tyres, keep it nice and chill on the throttle, not spin on the final lap of racing like he did back in the sprint race in the dry conditions, he could see himself on a very good potential comeback here for P1 as skill issue, setting the fastest lap time, I believe, and that was around about, I'm not too sure. So we're going to have a quick look at that if we can somehow on the thingy. There we go. 2:15.293. Absolutely insane. And, yeah, what can I say? Matt absolutely pushing, trying to stay with skill issue. But Matt just doesn't have the pace in the wet conditions, because they're now separated 4th and 3rd by 1.2 of a second. So, unfortunately, like I said, Matt hasn't got the pace to contend. No, I do agree. It doesn't look like it's going to dry up, does it? It looks too wet to dry up. Maybe intermediate times, but I don't think that'll be the case because the weather just doesn't look pretty out there and doesn't look great at all, especially to racing. Definitely not ideal. But we're just chilling right now. It's going to start quieting down, and we're only on lap number 4. So we're just waiting for big moments to happen in this race. You know, anybody on track right now could severely have a massive moment. They could spin the car. They could do a Fernando Alonso and drift by, you know, dabbing the wheels into the gravel. Even though we have no gravel at this track, they could dab it in the grass, drift with their back end, and somehow do a fantastic save. You know, that'd be lovely to see on the stream. But now it gets interesting, because what is interesting is Robin McQueen in P2, and he was, what, you know, 1.2, 1.3, 1.1 under a second from Brisbane. Was looking quite race pacey, but unfortunately it looks like he doesn't look like he's got the pace to contend with Brisbane at the moment, because That was 1.2, you know, 1.3, 1.4, like I was saying. But now it's what? 1.5 on exits, 1.6 on exits. Somehow Brisbane is able to really open that up. And there's caution, there's yellow flags. And that's going to be Jakob spinning probably, or going off track at 18 and 19. But somehow keeping it alive. And still in P6 has a 3-second time penalty towards his name for not keeping in between the white lines, which obviously definitely isn't ideal. Matt, though, in P4 was below a second last lap. Somehow it's managed to increase just a little bit, which isn't ideal. And now that's opening up to what? Instead of 1.1 to under a second, it's now 1.3 to 1.4. So some drivers struggling as we make our way almost halfway through the race, and some drivers not struggling. If that somehow miraculously makes sense, yeah, there you go. And also, I just want to make it clear on stream, we did have a bit of a whoopsie today. Obviously, with the F2 attendance bot, it was meant to be 8 PM UK time, but unfortunately suffocating, doing a little bit of a whoopsie, and unfortunately, instead of putting 8 PM, he put 10 PM, so there wasn't a ping that went out, so that could also be why we're maybe missing a few drivers on tonight's grid. But, you know, mistakes do happen. It's not the end of the world. So, you know, at least we found out whilst we were, you know, getting everything set up in the lobby. But, you know, we don't talk about that. Pit this lap for an undercut, or the next lap the latest. I mean, there you go. You spoke too soon, and you have spoken. Brisbane and Skillishu stay out another lap of racing, and it's Rob McQueen and, surprisingly, James Mustang, not James Mustang, sorry, Mutt into the pit lane. Rob McQueen getting this fresh set of wet tyre compound on his car. And same thing with Matt. Are they on the same tyres? Yes, because obviously it's nowhere near going to dry up. And 9 seconds going up to Jakob spins a lot. Definitely not what you want to see. And definitely not ideal. Brisbane though, and Skillishu. Brisbane still race leader, as he was on lap number 1 of the F2 feature race. Another 3-second time penalty going out to Jakob for exceeding track limits. Oh, a bit of a slide there for the Skillishu. He's probably starting to feel the decrease of grip in those soft, not in the soft compound, way on about, in the wet compound of tyre. So hopefully he can just keep it in one piece and keep it all together. Keep it nice and calm, nice and chill, nice and relaxed, and it'll be a happy bunny. Making his way now into the S's, I like to call it, in turn 12 and turn 13 in sector 2, heading towards sector 3 in around about a corner's time, sliding his way out of turn 14, and now we're in turn number 15, and he did kind of go off track there, which could mean, well, that was a close one, which could mean he could have got a warning from that. And as we saw that on stream, as we said, stream highlight, he's done a Fernando Alonso almost, drifting out of turn 15. No idea how he saved that, shall I say, but there we go. Why isn't Robbie winning? I'm disappointed. You know what, Joe? I am as well. He said he'd be very, very quick today, but it doesn't look like he's quick enough at the moment. But we'll find out. We'll see. Making his way through 16 and 17 we go now. Heading towards 18 and 19 very, very shortly is Rob McQueen, known as Lightning McQueen. Like to say, ka-chow a lot. Can he provisionally take the race lead? Making his way out the final corner. Brisbane crawling towards the pit exit. There he is on the pit exit now. Rob McQueen Out of turn 1. Brisen exiting the pit lane now with skill issue. Also exiting the pit lane. And unfortunately, Rob McQueen is unable to do the undercut on Brisen. Brisen able to stay in P1. Now, the troubling woes is that the gap, instead of it being, what, 1.3 to 1.4, it's now 2.1. So it's increased by just a tad, just a little bit, which definitely isn't ideal. So, you know, the advantage as well is handed towards Brisen once again, because now he's got a lap fresher than Robbie McQueen. So Robbie, his race victory, unfortunately, could be over. Because there's literally nothing he can do now. All he can pray for now is literally a safety car, or, hear me out, someone's spinning. Those would be his two main objectives, but the gap slowly degrading and making its way down. What, you know, it was separated by, what, 2 seconds? It's now separated by 1.7, so it is coming down. Red McQueen is finding that pace and that lap time. But someone else who is making his way after a very horrible and unfortunate sprint race weekend in the feature is Skill Issue in P3. Slots into P3 as Will McQueen at 2 minute 13.937. Definitely finding pace on this circuit right now. Yellow flags, that's Jakob down in turns number 15 and towards 16. Louis on the car there, spinning it round. Luckily, keeping it out of the wall. And he will carry on towards the end of this race. But Rob McQueen, a very horrible turn 1. And probably a horrible turn of 19. Because the gap is now 2.4. So it doesn't look like he's got the pace. And Jakob reporting that he has a puncture. Oh, there it is. How on earth did you get a puncture? How did you manage that, my good friend? I know it's possible, but holy moly, how did you do that? Oh, you hit a wall. I'll be honest, you know, Jakob, I wouldn't advise smacking the wall, just so you know. And just so you're aware, I wouldn't advise doing that. You know, just saying my smartness. No, just letting you know. Next time, you know, just don't hit the wall. Alright? You know, just giving you tips and tricks, you know, on what to do and how to improve, you know, F2. You know, as you always know, Flynn, he's here to help as we've got a purple sector 2. Going out to Skill Issue right on the gearbox of Robin McQueen. We know these two have been together, you know, here and there in F1, in F2. They're going to pull out wheel to wheel, making their way through turn 16 and 17. And Skill Issue somehow making a move there, making his way on top into P2 now. The gap to him and Brisen is 3.4. Can we see Skill Issue take a race victory, take a crown, take a win away from Brisen? Or could Brisen win it back to back on the sprint and the feature as he does the fastest lap time so far? Let's go aboard Jakob. There he is. What a perfect time to go on board and see him having his moment by spinning. We love to see it as he goes wide there at the double left-handers of turn 10 and 11. Yeah. I mean, he's having fun on the track, you know. Not doing anything dangerous or reckless. Still in P6, so he'll be happy with that one. You can see the pace difference though between Skillershoe and Brisen. 3.2 is the gap, was 2.9. Skillershoe really pushing hard. Brisen doing the exact same thing and trying to push as hard as he possibly can. Rob McQueen though unable to keep up with these two, and his pace wise is dropping lap by lap. 1.8 is decreasing. Excuse me. Lap by lap as the race goes on. You know, as he goes purple again in Sector 2, definitely pushing the limits there, pushing as hard as he can and trying to close that gap down to Brisen. We can have a look at tyres, as they've all done their pit stops. So you can see there, Brisen and Skillershoe, 2 laps on their wet tyres, Rob McQueen and Matt on 3 laps, James Mustang on 2, and Jakob with 1 after having to box anyway, as he got a puncture for smacking the wall, which definitely isn't ideal. Fastest lap time in 2 minute 12.432. Going out to the wonderful Skillershoe in P2 at the moment. You can see and you know he's pushing as hard as he possibly can. The gap now 2.8 seconds. That could decrease towards the end of this lap, like someone was pointing it out in the Twitch chat as my voice box was having a bit of a stroke there, but we got there in the end. They were saying it doesn't look like it's going to dry up. It may just stay with these conditions, and they may just be right. So can Skillershoe, by going purple again in Sector 1, he's definitely flying, definitely exceeding expectations, impressing me as well. After having that crash in the sprint, I didn't think he'd be able to contend and potentially chase down the race leader, which is Brisen, who's in a comfortable P1, but that gap is dropping a 10th by 10th, corner by corner, sector by sector. He is absolutely flying. 2.5 heading towards the double left-handers of turn 10 and 11. It's now separated by 2.4. It is dropping quite significantly into the S's of 12 and 13 towards number 14, out of Sector 2 towards Sector 3. Jakob has spun once again at turn 18. He's making his way through turn 19 now, having the race of his lifetime. Lap number 10 for him starting now. Back on board with these two. Brisen, could say, what could you say? We're Brisen, just chilling in P1, you know, having a nice Sunday drive, as people like to call it. And you got Skillershoe, who is the hunter, and chasing down Brisen for that P1 as Jakob spins a lot as a 3-second time penalty for more multiple warnings. Skillershoe again banging out another fastest lap time for 2 minute 12.376. He's absolutely flying here at Circuit Spa. 2.5 is the gap separated between these two. Up and through a Rouge we go now, and we're just waiting to see if, you know, Skillershoe can potentially make a move somewhere on Brisen. Maybe if he's close enough. He's not close enough at all yet, but if he is close enough, he could try and make a move. But he's nowhere near at the moment. 2.6, the gap is slightly increasing now, almost to the penultimate lap of the race. It's coming very, very shortly towards the end of this lap. So if Skillershoe wants to get anywhere near P1 and grab that trophy and grab that win, he needs to start wrapping it up now and start closing like crazy. Feels like a rental car on slicks. Not gonna lie, I thought you were on the slick tyres for a second, but you're not. You're on the wets. But I can see what you mean. You're drifting out of every single corner. I know it's wet on the circuit, but you shouldn't be, you know, majorly struggling that much. But the RF2 cars, they can be a little bit disgusting in my opinion. I absolutely despise driving the F2 cars. Hence, why I've decided to take up the role of commentating. Right then, Skillishu has managed to find some time in Sector 2 and knock out a big chunk as another drift, another tank slap out of turn 15, heading towards 16 and 17 now, separated by only 2.3, and it's now dropping a little bit into turns 18 and 19 on board of Brizan. Let's see what his exits are like and entrances. Good apex there. Hits the apex there as well. Jakob has retired from the session and unfortunately giving up and giving in, and that is one DNF towards the featured race, and that is Jakob unfortunately once again out of the session. And the penultimate lap of the race now, and these two separated by 2.6 of a second. But of course, as we know, it doesn't look like Skillishu is going to be close enough to close down on Brizan, as we saw there up and through a Rouge. We didn't see him at all. So I think Skillishu has actually had a moment up and through a Rouge. So that's quite unfortunate. So we could see Brizan take a win to win from the sprint race and the feature race in a one more lap time. But Matt, he's caught my eye a little bit, because obviously Matt expecting a potential podium again, not a 1-2 like he would have wished for, but definitely trying to get past Wobby would be very, very nice, and he'll be very, very happy with that. They're only separated by 1.6, heading towards what, 8 and 9 now, as a bit of a drift there for the F2 driver of Matt, making their way now at turn number 9, heading towards turn 11, only separated by what, 1.6 of a second. We'll see what these two can do through the double left-hander now of turns 10 and 11. Matt trying to put the power down, but just isn't able to because of how wet it is and how tricky and treacherous those conditions are at this moment of time. Absolutely crazy, absolutely pressurizing, absolutely sensational. But with the way Wobby's going at the moment, he could pretty much say, you know what, I've got this P3 in the bag. There's no need for me to push so hard. So he's just going to chill in P3, sorry. And Matt will try and chase down P3, but he may be coming home in the feature race in a wet, soggy Spa, finishing in P4, as it's the way it's going at this moment of time. Into the heavy braking zone of the bus stop now. A Skillishu, a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, and Wobby McQueen now could set his eyes here for a P2, and Matt as well could set his eyes here for a podium place towards the end of this race. Skillishu was looking so positive, so competitive, so happy for, you know, a podium position of P2, but the way things are going at this moment of time, it looks like Wobby McQueen could set sail into P2. What's really caught my eye now is somehow Matt making his way through turn 1 and in sector 1 still, up and through a Rouge. The gap of 4th and 3rd is only separated by 1.2 of a second. So there could still be a fight here for P3 if Wobby McQueen makes a massive mistake. But Wobby McQueen trying to push as hard as he possibly can now. Same with Skillishu to try and get out that 3 second. Wobby McQueen trying to stay within 3 seconds. So we'll see what the outcome is towards the end of this race. And we're on board now with Matt making his way through turn number 9, heading towards the double left-hander very shortly of turn number 10 and 11. That gap is now decreasing as we go through the double left-hander. The gap is only 1.1 and it's about to be under a second as we make our way now into sector 3 very shortly. We've just got to make our way through the S's of turn 12 and turn 13. If Webby makes a major mistake now, that is him off the podium, because unfortunately Skillishu has somehow magicked some pace and gotten away with, you know, the skin of his teeth by 3.7 of a second. Rob McQueen, though, 5/10 is the gap between 4th and 3rd. Brizzen will cross the line in P1 to set a delight. A very good weekend for him, finishing home in P1 in the sprint race, finishing home in P1 in the feature race. We're on board with Matt for 3rd. Webby in 3rd right now. Or should I say Matt in P4, but on board with these two still. Matt unable to get the move done. He'll come home in 4th place. Webb McQueen, wowzers, able to deal with the pressure. He'll finish in 3rd. Matt in 4th. Skillisher in 2nd. Brizzen, go on board of him quickly, finishing obviously in P1. There you go. There you go. In P5, James Mustang will cross the line. And that is F2 done for tonight. Well, that's interesting, Jakob. As a driver of the day, skill issue. No worries, I'm glad you like the comms. 81 at the end, Webby. That is absolutely crazy. Skill issue, SMH. I mean, Mix, you almost bottled a podium, mate. You know, you got a 3 seconds and somehow, I don't know how you did it, but you magicked up some pace and somehow managed to keep that P2 somehow. Yeah, true. You didn't get a puncture like Jakob by smacking your wall, he said in the chat. Which obviously isn't ideal. Oh! Well, congratulations on driving into the pit wall. But, there we go. There is the results as we can move quickly to the sprint race. There you go. There it is. Brizzen winning the sprint race. Matt home in P2. Webby in P3. 4 for Jones Mustang. Jakob P5. And Skillishoe, the retiree from that session in the sprint. Towards the feature race, however, Jakob retiring from the race. James in P5. Matt in P4. Robin McQueen in P3, Skillisher in P2, and Aussie Brizzen back-to-back wins in the sprint and the feature, comes home in P1. I'm not too sure, Mix. Probably not, no, because I was on board with, I was on board with Matt at the time, and then I just saw yellow flags and I knew going really, really slowly, and then somehow managing to run away insanely and disappear into the never unexisting land of craziness. But no, chat. That is us done and dusted for today. Here for round number, I believe it's 6, I think it is, of Spa. So as always, thank you so much for watching. We will catch you in the next one. If you like GT3 cars, we will be back for tomorrow with me once again, can you imagine, for some ACC action. 8 o'clock UK time. Make sure to tune in for that one because it'll be awesome. It will be awesome, trust me, because Brands Hatch in wet conditions, that's going to be fun to watch, fun to commentate, and we'll see who takes the victory there tomorrow night. And then, of course, on Sunday, as always, Tiers 1 and 2 will be live streamed, and I believe Tier 2 will be streamed by the wonderful Mix, and Tier 1 could be streamed by myself, or it could be Darkness if he is back in time. Our Discord is down below if you want to join and be a part of the Phoenix Sinsport community. Also, our Twitter and social medias are down below as well. Make sure you go and check them out and give us a follow to keep up to date with all the social media that happens on that account. But no, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.